welcome. Okay. Yesterday, what you experienced was you deciding and thinking about your goals. Okay. Everything that we've been teaching here in the Freedom Series is to help you create mental, spiritual, financial freedom of all levels. And what I want to help you today is understand that success is 100% always going to become down to habits. Your habits in life are creating your behaviors, and your behavior creates your results. So today is going to be such an important day that you really lock into, because you're going to realize why you're not doing what you're doing, why you have all these things that you want to do, but for some reason something's pulling you back. I have no doubt in my mind that yesterday when we were talking about goals and purpose, there's parts of you still has this tug of war going on in your mind. And I get it. I've been there. But what we've got to realize is you are God's highest form of creation. There is nothing on this planet that you can't do unless it goes beyond nature or the limits. So what you've got to realize is if you can think it, you can achieve it. Now, the lovely thing about this is if you can see it, then it's for you to create. If you've seen something and you had a goal, I may not be able to do it unless I really wanted to do it. You see, you've got to have a burning desire, because what's going to happen is when the excuses come, when your paradigm, starts to pull at you and this little tug of war goes, no, I can't do it. Your purpose has got to be bigger than your pain. Your purpose has got to be bigger than your excuses. A lot of people want success, but they're just not willing to do what it takes. And a lot of the time we think, oh, that's going to be so much hard work. I'm already really busy. But actually, when you start to work in harmony with how your mind is supposed to work, and you start to work with the universal laws that are governing everything that we do, life will start to be easy. Do you ever notice that people who are earning loads of money, they've got beautiful homes, they're going on holidays, they don't seem to be working as hard? Now, don't get me wrong, some people at that level are still working hard, but it doesn't have to be that way. And that's what today is going to be about. So I want you to think back to yesterday. I want you to think about what we spoke about: purpose, vision, and goals. One, your purpose is to create. That's your purpose in life. And you get to choose. You get to choose. You get to think in possibilities. You are deciding what is happening in your life. You're deciding regardless whether you're aware of it or not. And my job as a mentor is to help people become aware of what they want to do, how to do it, and then how to multiply that to the next level, how to close the gaps of what is holding us from, I'm here, but I want to be here. And those gaps, as I always say, are opportunities. Once you start to fill in the gaps, you can go anywhere in life. Once you learn this system, this process, and it's through understanding. It's not going to be through reading books. It's not going to be from even listening to me every single day for 5 days, because you've got to realize your results are coming from your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind has been conditioned over whatever age that you are. So it doesn't take years, but it does take a couple of months. And once you start to do that, you completely get to the root cause of everything. And that's going to save you so much time. It's going to save you so much energy. It's going to save you in health. It's going to save you in money. It's going to save you in relationships. So today is vital that you really kind of show up and listen and really answer the questions internally, because that's where the answers always are. The answers are never outside of you. I'm not even able to give you the answers. What I do is I help people become aware of the answer. I have no right to tell you what to do with your life at all. I'll guide you and I show you the path so you can do it in less time with less work. Okay. So your purpose is to create. You get to choose what that is. Your vision is then an expression of that. What does that look like for you? Your vision is an expression of your purpose. Everything in your life should be focused around why you're on this planet. And if you don't know why you're on this planet, then you've got to go on the journey to discover it. You can't buy it. That's one thing money can't buy. You've got to develop your awareness, just like in school. Like awareness is something that we don't learn about. But what you do learn in school is 1 + 1 is 2. Okay? And when you first heard that for the first couple of times, you're kind of like, what? And then when you got up into multiplication, you were like, no, you're going to have to show me that again. And you didn't get it, and you didn't get it, and you didn't get it. And then one day it made sense. Same as driving a car. Same with anything. We have to go through a learning, and it's not just education, it's education and application. So really realize that everything you want is possible, but you have to go on a journey to start to work in harmony with your goals. One big thing you're going to realize today, and this is going to sound contrary to what I've been saying all week, is that you don't get in life what you want, you get in life who you are. So the key to getting what you want is to become the person that would have that. So you've got to start thinking, making decisions, having conversations, any actions that you make, like the person that is in your goal. So this is why goals are so vitally important. And the goal then is the chunk out of the vision. I'm going to go after this first. So that's what we do. We help people reverse engineer the vision into blocks so that you have the time, the energy, the money, everything, because you're going to attract everything you need once and only once you make the decision to go after it. Again, that's why only 3% of the population are really making it, because when you can't see the how, when you don't know if it's going to work out, most people step back into safety. Most people don't have the confidence or the success habits to pursue in the pursuit of their goal. And that's just how it is. It's a statistic. It's how I lived my life for a very long time. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. But it is a choice. And only you can make that decision. Only you decide how long that perhaps you go round in cycles and keep seeing patterns that are not working for you. Okay. So today, as we've said, I went over what yesterday was about. If you haven't been here before, just know that everything is in the portal. If you're watching on Facebook, please go get registered. It's a free training portal. It'll have all of these recordings in it for a period of time. And it's great to be able to get in there. You can also ask questions. Towards the end of this week, I'll be doing a Q&A. So if you have any questions at all, put them into the portal. On the left-hand side, there's a question box. Please submit those so that you're able to get my answers coming back towards the end of the week. All right. So as we start, I'm going to read one little chapter out of a book that I would highly recommend that you get. It's called U Squared. Now, my front cover is totally gone. So this is what it's called. This is what it looks like. U Squared by Price Pritchard. And this little book is so small. You can see it's very tiny, easy to read, but it's all around quantum leaps. So that's Price Pritchard, U Squared. And on page 2, he talks about right now, in this moment, you are capable of exponential improvements in your performance. You can multiply your personal effectiveness, hit new highs, and shatter your old achievement records. The results that you can have will be hard for you to imagine. You don't have to settle for things as they are now. That can change, and dramatically. If you are ready, life is prepared to give you a breakthrough experience. You can jump to a higher orbit of achievement, live the dream, enjoy a completely different plane of success. You don't have to change things incrementally or gradually. Just as your level of performance can improve drastically, so can your rate of accomplishment. You haven't been reaching your full potential. So far, you haven't even come close. No matter how you wish to measure success, regardless of how you define achievement, you have barely scratched the surface on what you can personally accomplish. But maybe this time you're ready for it now. So I wanted to read that to you because that is speaking to you. You don't have to take incremental steps. You may not know how to take a quantum leap, but we do, and we can help you with that. Okay, so today what we're going to talk about is what is holding you back. Because yesterday, the question that I asked you all to think about last night was, what do you want? If you just accept right now, and you don't have to believe me, but just accept the thought, let's just play the game. If I had a magic wand and I could wave it over your life, what changes would you make? What upgrades would you make? Would you look the same? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, but I mean, if I had a magic wand, I'd be making changes. That's exactly what I did. And I'm still making changes because I know, just like this book says, and whether I read this 4 years ago or whether I'm reading this now, it still means the same. I haven't even scratched the surface on what is capable or possible. And I am so obsessed with learning and understanding more of how we can get more greatness in our life. Like, we're here for a purpose. We're here to experience wonderful things. So I think that you deserve the same way of thinking. I think you deserve to understand how this works. So I want you to think about your goal that you set last night, even if it was just ideas. I want you to think about money you want to earn, the time you want to have, the places you want to go, the house you want to live in, how you want to feel in yourself. Do you want to improve your confidence? Whatever it may be. When you think of that life, what comes up in your mind to kind of counteract it, shall we say? What's coming up in your mind telling you to stay where you are? What are the reasons that you think you can't have that? I want you to write that down on a notepad right now. I want you to really be honest with yourself and really say, what is it that's holding me back from where I am to where I want to go? And it's really important just to put this all out on paper. It could be that you're afraid of other people's opinions. It could be that you feel you've no time. It could be that you feel you've no money. It could be that you feel you're not good enough. It could be that you feel you might fail, or you start things and you never finish them. I have no idea what it is for you, but it usually comes underneath a nice umbrella called fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. You're presuming most of the time. And that's because we work out of what's happened in the past. If something hasn't worked out for you before and you want to go and do it again, that little thought is going to come up. It's like a filing cabinet in your mind. It goes, but hold on, this might happen. And because we then give that energy, we usually don't step out and do the thing. Or it could be the complete opposite. You have no experience of this. So you're going, who am I to do it? Like, I remember when I first started this business, I kept saying to myself, I'm a nurse. I don't know anything about business. I mean, don't even call me an entrepreneur. That's weird. And I'm sure there's people here, you would love to be an entrepreneur, but you feel weird even with the title. Maybe you're in sales, but you don't like sales titles or words or people. That's blocking you. And that's what you're going to realize now. Your habits and your beliefs is what is really controlling what you get in life. So we've got to really bring this all together to help you understand it. Now, I'm going to read another little passage out of a book that I study, and it just really allows us to kickstart today when we talk about habits. And it says, imagination travels along roads according to habit. So your imagination, which is what you use when you think about the dream, when you think about what you'd love to earn, your imagination is a mental muscle. And if we haven't worked it very much, it won't be very strong. So you might find yourself that you think about goals and then you get really distracted. And suddenly you're thinking about what needs done or something current. And again, this is a big part of success. 95% mindset, 5% strategy. So we've got to look at this 95%. And if you want to create a new level of performance and success in your life, then we've got to change the mindset. And there's only one way to do it. You've got to recondition the subconscious mind. So if imagination runs along lines of habit, maybe you are not trained to think in possibilities. Maybe your mind, you just don't allow your mind to even stretch far enough. It says imagination has choice. So you actually can choose, but it chooses according to habit. So we talked yesterday about if there was 10 people in front of you saying that you're great, saying that you're wonderful, and then one person says, nope, you're not all that. If you listen to the one person, that's because it chooses By habit. You would love to say, yeah, the 10 people are correct, but you didn't. You chose the one. And I don't even really believe that you think you consciously choose it. That's just the one you get zoned into by habit. So what happens is your automatic, that autopilot that I was talking about, it takes over. It makes the decision for you. Now think about that for a second. If your automatic habits and beliefs are making decisions for you, are choosing the perception in which you view the world, then you're really limiting yourself. Because if those habits are not in alignment with what you really want, then you're always going to be fighting. It's kind of like a tug of war game in your mind. You want to do it, but you don't. And that's really, really frustrating. It causes confusion. And this is why we procrastinate. This is why we don't get as much effective, productive, or creative work done. Then, because we're not getting on top of ourselves, we're getting more frustrated. So it's habit that is really the thing we need to look at. It says it has choice and it chooses according to habit. Awake or asleep, man's imagination is constrained to follow certain definite patterns. It is the benumbing influence of habit that man must change. If he does not, his dream will fade under the paralysis of custom. So if we don't learn and we don't actively decide, and it's a decision, to choose to change our habits at a subconscious level, nothing will change. There's no getting around that. So we've really got to decide, is my goal, and this is why the goal needs to be a C-type goal, it needs to really pull you, because changing isn't fun at the beginning. As soon as you start to think and even give a little bit of energy towards going after something you've never done before, there's something inside of you, I know it, it comes up and it goes, hold on a minute. It's like a bungee cord on your back and you're running and you're like, yes, I want this. And you run, and then something just pulls the rug from under you or pulls the bungee cord back. If that resonates with you, I want you to type in the comments box. Type in and say, yes, I feel that. Whatever you want to type. I just want to know if this is resonating with you guys. So today you're going to find out what that is. Now to do that, I'm always going to draw for you guys. So let me bring my pad over. So think, even write down on a page right now, what is it that you want? So write that down. And then on the other side, you want to write down, what is the reasons that I think I can't have it? Really put that down, because that's going to be hugely important. Because if you don't know what the reasons are, you know, that this is giving you, you can't change them. Okay. So have a look at my screen. I'm going to draw this out for you guys. Okay. So firstly, we know that you want to have a goal. Okay. And we always say there's two things you need to know if you're going to achieve the success that you want. Now, the first premise that I taught you on day one is that you can create anything, and your mind is energy, and energy is always moving. It's always creating. Then we started to talk about, well, if this is true, and it is, but maybe you don't totally get that now, and that's okay. But let's just say it's true that you can create anything in your life. Then we start to go, okay, what do I want? What's the goal? Now, before you move off to get your goal, because this is where so many different programs, courses, teachers kind of skip the most important part. It's not about going, okay, I've got my goal, away I go. It's not about, I've got my vision board and I've got my affirmations, boom, I'm ready. No, you're not. Because how many times have you done something and you're still not getting the results? Probably quite a lot. I went through years of setting goals, but not really achieving them. And if I achieved something, it wasn't even really a goal, because what we described yesterday is you want to go for a C-type goal that gives you the biggest stretch. Okay. Now to go there, you need to know where that is. Okay. So that's the goal. But you also need to know, where are you right now? So here's where you want to go, and here's where you are. So why not just go after the goal? Why not, if you've decided what you want, well, why not just go and do it? Because there's something pulls you back every time. What is it for you? Is it people's opinions? Is it that you think you can't? Even is it that you keep saying to yourself, I'm going to do this, but you don't? And this comes down to what we call a knowing doing gap. Okay? You have a gap, and we call it a knowing doing gap. You know right now, without a doubt, you could be doing 1% better in many areas of your life, but you're not, potentially. Some of you might think you are. That's okay. I would also go, great. Now, how can we even more improve that? See, there's no limit. There's no end to this. So I'm never putting you down. I'm never saying, look at you struggling. You need to think like me. No, I'm equally struggling at my level, but I just don't call it struggle anymore. I see it as, oh, this is contrast that I must go through to get to a next level. That's what life's about. You will mess up. You will fail. You will talk to a camera when the microphone's not on. That's life. But do you react to that or do you respond to that? That's what is going to be the big difference for you in having mental order, calmness of mind, and being more chilled out. Being able to find solutions faster, being able to tap into creative energies so that you start to really lead in your life in whatever industry you're in or career. So we all have gaps. We all have to close them. But if you don't know how to close them, then you're always going to stay at that one level. I have to keep closing gaps at every level that I go to. And as we said at the start, we haven't, not you, not me, haven't even scratched the surface on what's possible. So we've got to ask, what is causing this? Why do I not do what I want to do? And I'm going to show you why this happens. So we talked about the stick man, and that explains who you are and how your mind works. But I want to take it back a little bit, and I want to show you what you were like when you were born, because that was slightly different, okay? Now, when you were born, you looked a bit like this, if we were to look at your mind, okay? It's not clearly what you looked like, but this is the mind at a very young age. And a little bit of mum and a little bit of dad came together to genetically program you, okay? So you were already genetically programmed by mum and dad. But most of our programming from around, for most of your life is environmental. So it's what's going on around you that comes into your subconscious mind. I speak English, but if I was born in China, I would still have white skin if I was born with my parents, but I would speak Chinese. So it's all around the conditioning of what's going on around us, plus a little bit of mum and a little bit of dad. Now, what happens is, we'll call this programming, okay? This is just your genetic and your environmental programming. That closes over when you get to a certain age, and you then develop your own ability to think. When you're a baby, you're not aware of very much. You're not aware of what is male and what is female. You're not aware of loads of things. In fact, you've got to ask yourself, where did you pick up your beliefs and your habits? Because you weren't born to be afraid of yourself. You weren't born putting yourself down. You weren't born thinking money was a bad thing. You've picked it up somewhere. That's what's happened. Now, what happens is, and we explained this yesterday, is we've got 5 senses. But if this was you, and there's a little bit of mum and a little bit of dad, and then all this environmental conditioning coming in, this has programmed you. And now you see through the lens of that programming. So you're going to attract into your life, you're going to hear what you're conditioned to hear. Think of it this way. Have you ever wanted to buy a brand new car? Or anything, it doesn't matter what it is, but let's just think of something you really wanted. And then everywhere you go for the next couple of days, you see the car, or you see an advert for whatever it is that you want to buy. Isn't that strange? As soon as you start getting emotionally involved, oh, I really love that new, I don't know, white BM, then suddenly you see white BMs everywhere. If you can resonate with that, put it in the chat box. Just type, yes, I resonate. That's because you were thinking and feeling and connected to a white BM. It's not because suddenly everybody else wanted a white BM and they're driving about in them. You're noticing with your senses what you're thinking about in here, what you got emotional with, a want, a desire, whatever it is. Equally, how many times has, you've been thinking about debt or worrying about money and suddenly there's more bills coming in? You attract what you give energy to. So important that you understand that. And you can change the energy in which you give anything. So you can actually change the effect that's coming back to you. Now, I want to go into this a little bit more because this is what's blocking you the most. Okay. You know where you are, you know where you want to go to, but a lot of people get stuck. A lot of people are studying this material, but results are still not changing. And there's only one reason why. There's only one reason that you're not earning what you want to earn. There's only one reason that you're feeling anxious or depressed or any of those things. Whatever your results are, there's only one reason that you're getting them. And that's because of a paradigm. This is the only thing that you need to completely understand to change your life. Just one thing. And we've got to ask ourselves, if I said to you, what is a paradigm? How's it controlling the decisions you make? How's it controlling your perception? How's it controlling how you see other people or how others see you? How's it controlling your weight? How's it controlling your emotions? And more importantly, never mind what it's doing. Do you know how to change it? Because I also shared yesterday, you have a thing called a self-image and it's a part of the paradigm and you cannot outperform it. If you're, let's say I'm talking to somebody who earns 20,000 a year, but wants to turn it into 200,000 a year. Well, that person is never going to be able to work harder to earn the 200,000. The difference and what has to be changed is the programming, is the thinking around the money. And as you know, tomorrow is a big money day. We're going to discuss more in depth around that because it's such an important topic when it comes to freedom. Because it's not the money you want, it's what the money can do for you. It's what the money can give you more choices, live a better lifestyle, do the things you really want to do. So this paradigm is the absolute number one key that is holding you back to things in life. So that's what we're going to spend most of our time talking about today. All right. Now, we got to ask, what is a paradigm? I've never heard of this before. Like I'd never come across this word before. And I mean, as I said on the first day, I'm dyslexic. So even trying to spell it at the beginning for me was difficult because I'm just me and I'm not trying to put myself down. I'm very aware of what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I know I accept myself for who I am. And I'm really proud of myself for things that I can do in my life. And that, for me personally, was why coming across this material was the best thing. This saved my life. There is no doubt about it. All the things that I've got now are great, but that's nothing compared to being free on the inside. And if I want to be free, I've got to know me. Not the me you think I should be, not the me my parents think I should be, not the me my partner or friends think I should be. But if I want to be free, then I've got to know who me is. And this is why teaching you today is so important. It's so great that you're here. Something is pulling you back here every time. And that's what I want to grab. I want to bring it to the surface. I want you to think, and I'm just going to diverse a little second. Do you ever feel, see this yellow dot? Do you ever feel in your heart or just in your own mind that you know you're capable of more? You know you're worth more. You have this weird feeling that there's more for you. If you feel that way, type yes into the chat box. Now, the next thing is, do you ever feel like that tug of war is happening? Like you want this to come out, but then sometimes it feels like something's squashing it down. Well, that's exactly what's happening. I want you to think of this yellow circle as your potential. Okay? And your potential is a living thing. It's energy. It's the essence of who you are. It's the real you. And when we are in life, and this paradigm that comes from mom and dad and comes from their mom and dad and comes from their mom and dad, this just comes down through generations. And you can see that everywhere in the world. There's also cultural paradigms. So this paradigm is a collection of habits and beliefs. That is what your paradigm is. It's a collection of habits and beliefs. Now, if you go back to that list that I asked you to write, why you think you're not achieving your goal, I guarantee you can put it under one of these two categories. Maybe you procrastinate. Maybe you put yourself down. Maybe you have an inner dialogue that is sabotaging. Maybe you feel you're just all over the place and you've no time for anything, but yet you're not even really getting anything done. Whew, I lived like that for a long time. Very busy, being busy, but not really getting anything done. Or maybe you've got some beliefs. I can't do it. Maybe it won't work for me. Or maybe the belief is I shouldn't be wanting more. Now that, if you're ever thinking it's wrong to have things or money or, to improve yourself, that's just a lack mindset. And it's because of beliefs that you're holding. So this potential, if you think of it like this potential, it wants to expand and grow. That's the law of increase. It wants to go. But if you don't have the habits to back it up, you don't have the beliefs to back it up, do you know what happens? 97 to 98%. That's what's controlling your behavior. So the habits win. And it dampens your potential. And it keeps it in a little box. Again, in this book, U Squared, I want you just to read one paragraph to you. It says, it's time to start focusing on possibilities rather than on limits and obstacles. Making a quantum leap means moving outside your mental boundaries. This is the paradigm. This is the mental jail that we are trapped in. Again, it doesn't matter what level you're at, because even if you're doing really well, there's more. And it's not always about money. A lot of people that I work with who are very financially well off, what they're really seeking is spiritual freedom, growth, fulfillment, understanding, purpose, to help other people. And that's what it's really about. So it goes on to say, if you will rethink how you're thinking, you can multiply your performance potential. You must let your desires guide you instead of allowing yourself to be boxed in by perceived restraints. So if we will rethink how we've been thinking, that's the key. Now, it's not about getting more knowledge or education, because when you go to school, what happens is the books, the exams, the pieces of paper, they are on a conscious level. That's education and knowledge. We always hear, unfortunately, that knowledge is the most important thing. No, it is not. And I'll tell you why it's not. Because that's not where our results come from. Our results come from the subconscious mind. And knowledge and education and facts and all of that stuff are not feelings. So they don't live in the subconscious mind. They live in the conscious mind. Now, am I saying that education is absolutely uncalled for? No, I think there are basic things that we need to know. But I do fully believe that there are a lot of people in this world going back to university, getting a master's degree, getting a PhD, getting all these pieces of paper because they think in the having of the paper, then they'll have the confidence to go and do it. And there are some careers that you have to have the piece of paper. Okay. I was a nurse. I had to definitely go to Queen's and do nursing. But yet my success in life has come from something totally different. Now that was just my choice. So you've got to realize that knowledge is not powerful unless it is put into action. And since all of our behaviors are coming from the subconscious mind, then we've got to say to ourselves, are my habits and my beliefs in alignment with the goal? So you think of your goal and you think of what type of success habits would that person need? And you might know them. That's okay. I know them. I can show you how to develop a success habits. I mean, I am so obsessed with this that I have a daily ritual that I go through, and it allows me to create more time, because you've got to realize your habits and your beliefs are controlling everything. So they control your time, they control the amount of money you earn, they control your self-confidence, they control your perception. There's so many things your paradigm controls. Maybe you have the habit of procrastination. Even just think of that one habit. Do you procrastinate? Type yes if you do. Well, that's why you think you've got no time. Time is such a misunderstood thing. Time cannot be managed. Write that down. Tell everybody. You cannot manage time. There is only 24 hours in a day. It ain't changing for anybody. So it's got nothing to do with you saying I've got no time. All that tells me is that you are not managing your activities. If I get 24 hours and 7 days a week, you get 24 hours and 7 days a week. Now, what you do with it or what I do with it could be totally different. There's weeks that I could totally waste it, but I don't, because I have a goal. And this is where the goal and the habits tie in together. If you don't have a goal that you're striving for, that you want, and you have a burning desire and you want to have it, then every time you think about the goal on a conscious level, your programming, which is 97 to 98% really in control, goes, but you don't really need it. Now is not really the best time. What about security? What about this? What about that? Every time you think, oh, I'd love to do this, just notice, because there's usually a but after it. And everything after a but is a paradigm. Okay, just start to realize that. And here, I'm just helping you become aware of this. I want you to start to listen to the internal dialogue. What is that voice telling you? Why is that voice telling you to stay where you are? What is it telling you? Why should you stay where you are? And then, do you know what I want you to do? I want you to listen closer. And I want you to really ask yourself, whose voice is it? Because it's not your potential. It's not the real you. It's different people's opinions. It's other people's beliefs. It's other people's paradigms. A big part of procrastination is the inability to make a decision. When you cannot make a decision, you procrastinate. And not being able to make a decision is a decision in itself. It's indecision, where you're literally just leaving it up to the universe, leaving it up to circumstance and conditions. But that's not going to get you your goal. So what we've got to realize is this paradigm is controlling you. So let me just really make this clear so that you can see it very clearly. So we've got a paradigm. A paradigm is a collection of habits, beliefs. It controls your self-confidence, controls your perception, controls time, controls money. Now we're going to talk about money tomorrow, so I'm not going to talk about that today. But all of this is 96 to 98%, 97 to 98%, controlling your results. Okay, so really realize that 97 to 98% of you, your mind, your energy is in control. And if you don't learn to change habits and beliefs, how to upgrade your self-image to match the goal, you're just not going to hit the goal. The goal's going to fade. So what happens, a lot of people, if we draw the stick person again, is like, you're on this course, you obviously want more in your life. You wouldn't be sitting listening to me. So there's been at some point, maybe even yesterday, you started to think about your goal and you thought about it consciously. Okay. But remember, only 2 to 4% of what you think consciously are you going to automatically move into action. You see, the paradigm which lives here, you're living in it right now. It's how you view the world. It's your point of view. It's like the lens. So you're either looking through a lens of lack or a lens of abundance. That's where there's this tug of war between your head and your heart, because logic lives in the consciousness. So you think about this goal, but then your paradigm goes, no. We don't do that. I can't turn my annual income into monthly income. That's not going to work for me. So do you know what happens? Your paradigm takes over and the goal gets out of your head. It fades away, becomes nothing. You see, one thing I haven't told you this whole week is that this part of your mind, the consciousness, it can accept or reject any idea that you give it. You have choice. The subconscious part only accepts. So I want you to think of the subconscious mind like a fertile garden. When you plant a seed, it will grow. And your goal, which is an idea right now, is a spiritual seed. And when you plant that with emotion into your subconscious mind, it will grow. It will move into form. That is the manifestation process. You know, I was in this office. I thought about having this on the wall. I thought about it. I got emotionally involved in it. I then went into action. And this is the key. If your goal is not getting you excited, if you really don't want it, then of course this paradigm is going to go, no, let me tell you what you're going to do. And you'll take the same action with the same energy and keep getting the same results. I shared with you the other day about the frequencies. Here's frequencies, and let's remember what they are. Frequencies are just the lines in which energy operates. Your radio station has them. Cool FM, I'm going to hear Cool FM music. If I want to hear classical, which is on a higher one, I've got to tune in to classical. And this is where it all comes together, guys. What frequency are you tuned into? And to know the answer, we look at our results. Then, if we don't like our results, we know it's not about going out and doing something different. It's about going internally and changing your point of attraction, changing the energy in which you're working with, changing your habits, making it a habit. Like if you think of like 1 or 2 habits that you know are holding you back. If you were just to change them, how much would that change your life? And you know what's my favorite part? It's permanent. This is a permanent effect. It's not temporary. We've been down that road. We try to do all the challenges in 21 days and all sorts of things, but we never stick to it. And maybe you've got great habits, but again, then that would tell me that you've plateaued and we want to get you to a next level. So you're going to have to get uncomfortable again. That is a big part of success, being okay or being comfortable with getting uncomfortable. But that's really scary when you don't have full understanding of how it works. But you can if you study this material. You start to not just study it on a conscious level, but you become it. That's why what we do is so different. Bob Proctor is the only guy in the world that teaches how to change paradigms. So it makes no sense not to look at this, because we can see it working in our lives all of the time. We can see how you've went to do something, but actually your paradigm is you've no confidence in yourself. So you didn't really take the action, or you did take the action, but you weren't giving it your all. So you are living on a frequency wave somewhere in your life, and your results are where you're plugged in. So if I'm plugged into this frequency wave and we've got negatives and we've got positives, then if I'm thinking of the mindset, then I'm always going to get these results. I can say, yes, I would love to get away up high and have my goals, Kim. I want that. That's what I want. Okay, great. The only thing we've got to do is get you to think like the person you want to become. But the only way that that's possible is to rewire the subconscious mind. We've got to really look at the habits and the beliefs that you would have if you were up here at this goal. And once you know them, that's not enough. Then you've got to start to do the work at a subconscious level to change it. Now, this is so exciting. You have the power to tap into your mind and create anything. Now, what I haven't shown you, and we'll be going over it as well more as the week comes on, you have six what we call mental higher faculties, 6 mental tools. And you're probably not using them towards your benefit. We're all using them, okay? But we're not using them for us because we weren't really taught how to use them. This is what I teach. I teach you how to tap in. I call them your superpowers. When you learn how to use these, you can start to learn how to create an image of your goal, of anything that you want. You could, anything. Then the trick is you learn how to use these superpowers, as I call them, to impress onto your subconscious mind, which accepts everything. Now, what happens is over a period of time, through a very, very specific process, you can change the programming. Now, you're always going to have a paradigm. You're always going to have habits. You're always going to have beliefs. But the key is to change the habits and beliefs so that you are thinking in harmony, in alignment. This is alignment of your goal. You will only achieve the goal when you're in alignment with its energy. So you've got to think, you've got to feel, and you've got to act like the person you want to become. And this is where you've got to realize is, well, you're still getting these results. And if you keep looking at what you're getting, you're not going to be able to do this process, because you're going to be looking at what you're getting and go, but I don't have this and I don't, and you'll notice yourself. You start to argue for your limitations. Yes, but Kim, let me tell you what, no. But Kim, you need to, this is in my reality. Yeah, but your reality is based on what you previously thought. And since you're telling me you don't want what you previously have, we've got to start thinking about what you want. Your self-confidence, your self-image was created in the past. And if we want to create a new one moving into the future, we must learn how to discipline our mind. Most people, unfortunately, are living life like this. Good days in business, bad days in business. Good times in health, not so good times in health. If you can resonate with that, let me know in the chat box. If you feel life is going up and down and you don't know what's happening, and that causes chaos. That causes a lot of fear. That causes you to not know if you're secure. And that's one of our basic human needs. It's great when things are great, But you know what we often say when things are great? Well, sure, it won't last that long. And then away you go again. So if you're living life like this, up and down, the only reason you're living life like that is because you don't know how to use your 6 higher mental faculties. You're living through your senses and you keep seeing the results that you don't like. Then what happens is, because you're looking at what's going on in your life that you don't like, you're not thinking about your goal. What are you thinking about? Well, you're thinking about the results that you don't like. What happens when you think something, of whether it's negative or positive? Well, this part of your mind accepts everything, and especially if it's in harmony with your paradigm. So what happens is that turns into fear. That moves to the body. You're now operating out of a lower vibration. Let's just say it's here. And you go out and you take action. The universe always gives back what we put out. We talked about this in day 1, your attitude. So you keep getting the same results over and over and over again. However, now that I'm showing you this, now that you can get total clarity of what's going on for you, and I know this is resonating, but I also know that there's potential in here bursting to get out. And the more you listen to me and the more you listen to this material, no matter who's sharing it, I know this gets bigger. You can feel it. But you know what else gets bigger? The paradigm puts in more. It goes, hold on a minute. Are we really going to go there? Like, again, in this book, it says, when you start to basically advance for what you want to go for, it says the normal reaction is to want to hold on tightly to what you know. Don't be surprised if you grow uneasy. That is a predictable part of the process. So if you're feeling right now like, oh my goodness, I want to create success in my life once and for all, I am ready for this. Don't be surprised if this little voice crops up and gives you all the reasons under the sun of why you can't do it. Your goal, straight out. That's why we have that little saying, in one ear and out the other, because this part of your mind can accept or it can reject. And it's the paradigm that is in control. That's why when there was 10 people said you were awesome and one person said you weren't, well, your belief that you're not that great decided, I'm going to pick this one. Now, also, when you start to get on top of this, and I'm going to end with this today, when you start to get on top of this and you start to create a paradigm that is in harmony with your goal, do you know what happens? You still have senses. You still have, you're still operating on this frequency. But what happens is when you start to change your habits and your beliefs, and you've created a goal that matches what's going on in here, what happens is there's lots of opportunities in this world. There's also lots of not great things in this world. There's lots of everything. But whatever your paradigm is controlled to see, if you build an attitude that you only see greatness, you only attract the highest quality of clients into your business, when you have an attitude that everything is working out for you, that right now you're in the best place at the best time, when you start to adopt a successful habitual thought process, then you start to notice the things that are going to help you achieve your goal. You start to move on to the frequency of your goal. So here's the goal. When you start to think from the place of your goal, that's what we call alignment. So this energy is flowing into your consciousness. You're starting to see things. Yes, that could work. And oh, that's exactly the person I need. When all of that happens, then you're starting to operate with an energy that is really positive. You're not looking at the outside circumstance. You're not looking at the news and the media right now. It's still happening, but you can control your thoughts. You can think like the person you want to become. You can achieve your goal. Doesn't mean you get the goal, doesn't mean the money drops into your bank account, but you're only going to know the how. And this is the big thing that everybody wants to know. How am I going to do this? And how am I going to do that? And how am I going to do it? You don't need to know right now. Why? Because you haven't made a decision to go for it. When you make a committed decision, and a committed decision is when you abandon your excuses and your limitations, and you trust that feeling in your heart, and you go against this paradigm that's screaming at you, then and only then will the things start to appear. The money, the people, the resources, like everything just falls into place. Like, there's been days where you've just had a really good day and everything's just working in your favor, and you're walking in the park and you want to kiss the wee lady with the dog, and you're just like, oh, life is great today. You're in flow. That's when your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions are in alignment. You've more energy. If you feel tired, if you feel stressed, if you feel confused, it's because there is a massive conflict between what you're thinking and what you're doing. So many people say to me, Kim, I know. You don't know, because knowing is on a conscious level. How many times have you done something and you've went, oh, I know I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't have had that extra glass of wine or chocolate cake. But what we know and what we do are so different, because the paradigm is not in harmony with what you really want. And because it is majorly in control, 97 to 98% of all your behaviors and actions are coming from the paradigm, then you always just do what you've done. So when we change that at a subconscious level, you're able to now think, feel, and act. And then when you keep taking more action, and we're going to talk about this in the last day, you start to build up faith. Like right now, this might be the first time you've ever heard this, and it might be like, this is really difficult to understand. Well, it's not. It might be right now, but that's okay. If I could get it, you can get it. When you start to work in harmony with what you want and you believe in yourself, and that takes time, but I know how to help you really believe in yourself and change those habits, and you go out and take more effective action with this incredible energy, then the universe will give back to you exactly what you put out, and your results change dramatically. So I want you to really think about that today. I want you to think about tonight, what is it that is really holding you back? What is it that you truly desire? Because all of the reasons why you think it can't happen for you, it's just a paradigm. It's just your thinking process. And that, if you're at that point, then your next important step is, I need to work on me. I need to figure out who I am. Because if you're thinking about starting a business or wanting to go out and help people of any description, you can't give what you haven't got. That's what I learned. I mean, I just didn't know any of this stuff. So I can't help people with something that I don't have. So the most important thing that you have got to invest in and think about and spend time on is you. You're the most important person right now. You could be a better mom, a better dad, a better everything. Everything will improve in your life when you are willing to change your mindset. So today, I want you to have learned that you absolutely can have everything you want. And there's a specific process to that. But first, you got to close the gaps. We got to start doing more of what we know how to do. That in itself, when you stop procrastinating and you start to learn to manage your activities, you're going to become more productive. You're going to become more effective. You're going to become more creative. And when you put all of those things together, you're going to create better income for yourself. You're going to create a more balanced lifestyle for yourself. You're going to create a better feeling in the home for yourself and your family. So there's a lot to be said about this one thing that's controlling everything in your life. And if you really want to change, if this really has been starting to impact on you, then reach out, get in contact with us. Because everybody is different, but yet we're all the same. And our job as a team is to just sit and listen to you. When's the last time you sat and really started to talk about you? And it's not a counseling service. We're not saying, we want you to just spill everything in your life. You can tell us whatever you want. But what we're interested in is, how can we get you to where you really want to be? How can we make those changes in your life to give you that true freedom? So I want you today, if nothing else, make a decision to book a call with our team. It doesn't cost a penny. We're not going to twist your arm. We are there to listen, to help you. That's my purpose in this world. This is the purpose of this free program. I want to waken people up to their true potential. I want you to realize that it's not who you think you are that holds you back. It's who you think you aren't. You are so much more capable. There's exponential improvement and potential capable for you. So I've ran over, but enjoy. I didn't speak to you for the first 6 minutes anyway. So enjoy today, guys. Have a wonderful day. Leave me comments here. Leave me questions. Book your call. You can do that in the portal here and on the Facebook page. And then we'll be back tomorrow to talk about the M word. All about money tomorrow, okay? So we're gonna layer more on how the paradigm is impacting on your finances, and we're gonna help you understand that so that you know exactly what you need to do, all right? Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to speaking to many of you very soon. Bye-bye.